This must be one of the most confusing test cars I've had in a long, long time. What do I mean by that? Land Cruiser 76 Wagon, beautiful for overlanding, but does it really work as an everyday vehicle? Watch to see what we think. Welcome to MotorMatters, Change Cars and all things motoring. We've got the Land Cruiser 76 Wagon, the new one on test. What's new about it? Well, you've got the redesigned new round headlights, for example. You've got a redesigned bumper. The bonnet is redesigned. It's unusual. It's got different layers to it almost. It's a very strange looking vehicle, but it also is completely true to the Land Cruiser that's been around for 50 plus years. Not sure, it could even be 60. You come around, you have a look. You've obviously got cladding, things like that. I'm not even going to tell you some of the stuff because it is so clear and so obvious that I don't think it actually matters. But you can see you've got nice big wheels over here. These are semi-off-road wheels, I'm going to call them. And you've got locking hubs as well. You can see you've got features like this, and you've got space on the wheel arches for good articulation when you go off-roading. You'll see some off-roading in this video as well, where we took it on an off-road course, and let me tell you, nothing stops this brute. But I think you would expect that. It's big, it's long, but it's interesting as well because I'm going to say Toyota, the packaging in some ways confuses me. What do I mean by that? Let's open the back door and have a look over here. Now you've got a running board, but it's a very narrow running board. Good for off-roading, good for overlanding, not that practical for someone my lack of height to get in and out of the vehicle. But I do that, I pull myself up, and this is where I'm going to comment on packaging. The driver's seat is set for me, which means it's not set all that far back. But considering the size of the vehicle, the legroom over here, it's okay, it's adequate, but if there was a taller driver, if you have a look at the other seat, imagine the seat like that. How are you going to fit in the back? Of course, you've got tons of headroom, that's obvious, and that's clear. You also don't even have USBs for the back seat. Now, do you need them? Do you want them? I don't know, but they've become expected in modern vehicles, haven't they? And that's the point I'm making. Cloth upholstery I've got no complaint about. It's very, very practical and very useful. Now, if you're going overlanding, just come back here quickly. Have a look at this. Because if you're going overlanding and there may be only two of you in the vehicle, what you can do is that and that. Now look at how much more load space you're going to have for your overlanding trip. Because if you needed the extra space, you come around now. Another feature I do like is the big window over here in your C-pillar, shall we call it. And you need that. I'll explain why just now, but you really do. Saving space by putting your spare wheel on the back door and your split vertical rear doors instead of a hatch that opens upwards. Again, very practical for traveling and overlanding, opens all the way out. I like the fact that you've got a nice step over here to get in. And how many Allens? How many Allens is this for? Well, even with the seat up in use, I would call this about a 3 Allen boot. And if you're going to flip both seats, I think this is a 5 or 6 Allen boot. The thing I'm trying to say to you is this vehicle is built for getting out, overlanding, traveling, and nothing will stop it. But I've actually lived with it around town for a week. And that's where I say the confusion has come in. What they've done in the new model as well is it's powered by the 2.8 GD6 motor that's so familiar in Hilux and Fortuner. Puts out 150 kilowatts, 500 Newton meters of torque, which is plenty in any circumstance, whether it's cruising on the highway or out in the country or off-roading and overlanding. So you've got that, and that's great. It works. For the first time ever, they even give you an automatic gearbox option, which you've got the standard 6-speed as in the other applications. All works well for purpose. So the question I ask you is this fit for purpose? Let's find out.
Hello, my name is Michael. I'm the owner of CHANGECARS and the host of the TV show All Things Motoring. I have one mission, and that is to make a difference to the motoring public. Making a difference how? Making sure that you have safe options, making sure that you have knowledge. In that regard, it is my absolute pleasure and privilege to work with Alan Rosenmeyer of MotorMatters. The man with a hat, I'm the man with no hat, he's the man with the knowledge. Thank you for watching.
This is actually the first time I'm testing a 70 series Land Cruiser. I've tested the full-on luxury LC versions, which are completely a different ballgame. This is the legend. This is what came along, 50 odd years ago. And the essential shape, etc. hasn't changed at all. The headlights are a bit different. But the big difference is the new engine they've put in now. The GD6s, Toyota call it, the 2.8 litre 4-cylinder turbo diesel, 150 kilowatts, a massive 500 Newton meters of torque, which pulls like a steam engine, whether it's uphill or anything else, makes no difference whatsoever. But you look around the interior, and apart from the screen, which is fairly modern, the last car I had on test that didn't have buttons on the steering wheel was probably a 200,000 Rand car. This is a R1 million car with no buttons on the steering wheel. Kind of weird, kind of throwback. You look at the aircon and ventilation controls. When last did you see controls like that? But you know what? That's missing the point of this vehicle. Because the point of this vehicle is the 4x4 technology, the off-road technology, the massive ground clearance, and all those features that say to me, take me overlanding. Take me through Africa, across Africa. Doesn't matter what you want to do, because you know that that is what this vehicle was built for. I don't think I could live with this as an everyday car. I'll be completely honest. The turning circle is horrific. It's one of the worst I've seen in many, many years. You don't even get a reverse camera, believe it or not. But again, you're missing the point. Want to go overlanding? Want to go proper 4x4ing? What a wonderful choice this will be. And considering what I'm saying, it's actually relatively smooth and comfortable on a cruise out in the country as well. You can do it nicely and easily. I just wouldn't really want to drive this around town day in and day out. I think that's the point I'm making. This is the key. And I use the word key. When last did you see one of those? There's your remote locking and unlocking. But again, at the price, a key like that. These are the kind of reasons I say this vehicle confuses me. Behind the wheel, the instrumentation is all analog. When last did you even see that? And there's your little computer, shall I call it, but very limited information on it. So I can't even give you fuel consumption figures right now, quite honestly. I haven't found them. Maybe it's me, but I have not found them. So let me leave it at that. Now, steering wheel. Not a single button or control on the steering wheel, but you do have a stalk over there for cruise control. No, it's not active cruise control, but it is cruise control. So I suppose let's be grateful for that. The doors do not lock automatically on pull-off. You have to lock them yourself. Again, I'll live with it. So it's a case of what you're prepared to accept, what are you not prepared to accept. That's where it's going on this whole test. Well, now we say it's the new version, and you want to know it's the new version because look here, it's got a touch screen. That's great stuff. You press buttons for, even got built-in navigation. Thanks for that, Toyota. And a digital clock over there. But then you want the traditional, because remember, this vehicle is all about heritage, all about tradition. They are so strong on that look at the aircon controls. Sliders that I think you last saw in the 1980s, and a little knob over there. But you know what? These things don't matter in that way. What you do have over here, and now this is an interesting fact, you've got two USBs over here, but they're USB-Cs. Toyota, I'm still running on USB-A. I could not link to Android Auto, which you've given up me on the screen, but it couldn't work for me. So I'm not totally happy about that as a fact. And also, just back on the screen, by the way, no reverse camera. This vehicle's big, it's large, it's bulky, and I haven't got a reverse camera. Anyway, my gripe is done on that. Now you come over here next to the gear lever, which I've told you, the 6-speed automatic. You've got your various function buttons. I'm not going to spend too much time on them. For your off-roading, you've got your front and rear diff locks over there. And over here, you've got the second lever for, of course, 2 high, 4 high, 4 low. The good old-fashioned style that is not electronic, but maybe better. And yes, it can also work as a MotorMatters hat stand for my hats when I'm just driving on road. Old-fashioned handbrake, no complaints. And no buttons, no controls, no nothing over here in the center. Just space for your phone, etc., etc. And a tiny little console over there. I mentioned cloth seats. But now, on a vehicle of this, and at the price, which if you don't know yet, I'll tell you in a second, they're manual. There's no motors to move your seat around, to adjust your seat. You can't even adjust the height of the driver's seat. One height. Now, you're going to say to me, it's that kind of vehicle. I agree. I'm already sitting high up. But I'm not quite sure about a person much taller than me. But for me, funnily enough, the lack of height adjustment doesn't matter. It works very nicely for me, and I'm very, very comfortable. Cloth upholstery, I've got no complaint. A lot of people think it's more comfortable. And of course, you've got cup holders all over the place. You've got storage places. You've got all these things that you expect, again, for going overlanding. So those are all there as well. Do you understand my confusion about this vehicle? Because now I'm going to tell you it costs R1,000,000. 995 is the list price for this model. And that is a lot of money in anybody's book. You get the legendary heritage, toughness, capability, off-road, overland, etc., etc., that you don't have to think twice. You know it's there and you can guarantee it's there. But you also get so many compromises if you were going to contemplate this as your everyday vehicle. What's my summary on it? If you're looking for an everyday and you want to go with Toyota, I'm not even going to go to opposition. Top spec Fortuner is a little bit cheaper. Or wait, very, very soon, the new Prado, which will come in at a bit more money, but will give you all the luxury you want and all the spec and all the gizmos and all the gimmicks you want. So that this one falls slap bang in the middle. My opinion, I couldn't live with this every day. I haven't even mentioned to you the turning circle or lack of on this vehicle, to maneuver it in tight spaces, to maneuver it in parking areas. I could not live with this as my everyday vehicle. I'm sorry to tell you, Toyota. But if I was going overlanding, it would be at the top of my list. And if I was in the position where I could afford 2, 3, 4 vehicles, I would have one of these in my garage. I can tell you that much. For MotorMatters, I'm Eleanor. Also for Change Cars and All Things Motoring. See you next time.